Hello to all of my BPTV fans, YouTube fans, and new fans of my guests and others. I'm Alan Levine, the Talking Machine, doing my 12th Talking Machine show. I'm honored to have this great guest, and I'm going to let her introduce you to herself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kelly Frost. I'm so happy to be here. We are on Zoom today just because things got a little bit crazy. I am the Assistant Executive Director of WIN, and I also am the Director of WIN Pittsburgh. I also own my own company. It's Frost Executive Services, and I can't wait to dive in here.
Well, we'll even talk about your days as a magazine person. We'll discuss inspiring lives because I started a Pet Connections magazine 9 years ago for a lady. It's still around. So
Correct.
print is still alive.
It
And
is.
we'll get into that. First, I've known you about 7 years, met you through Daria Chisholm, and we had a great time with that. What a great lady she is and doing great stuff.
She
So
is. Absolutely.
and I appreciate you being a fan of me and to share something how we're friends. She came to an Atria's show and she took some great pictures, which I posted because I'm always posting pictures. So that's how nice of a person Kelly is. And where did you grow up?
So I don't tell a lot of people this, but I was actually born in Baltimore.
No way. I'm
I
wearing
know.
your colors.
Those
Go
are my
Ravens.
colors.
Go Ravens.
Black and gold are my colors. Let's get that straight right now.
Thank you, Steeler fan. Being a
So I
sports
was
guy,
born
I
in
respect.
Baltimore. Yeah, I was born in Baltimore. I moved here when I was 4. So I was raised in Pittsburgh. I bleed black and gold just like everybody else who lives here.
Well, thank you for clarifying that right up front. I won't bust your chops about it. I just have one question on that move. Why Pittsburgh?
Actually, my dad was transferred here. He worked for the Department of Energy, and this is where he was transferred to. So we've been here. He's actually from Greensburg, so he was familiar. But
Ah,
this is where we transferred to, and you're actually wearing my colors because I was raised in Baldwin.
that
So
is
it looks
that
like,
is true. That is true too.
yeah. So I was raised in Baldwin, and then I went to college and I graduated from Penn State.
We are.
We definitely are.
My daughter graduated in 4 years and 3 degrees, and she's doing very
Fantastic.
well with IT. Believe it or not, I need Casey right now. We had a few
Definitely could have used her today.
we had some technological difficulties on my end, especially, and we
But we
overcame
fixed it.
them.
We fixed it, and we're all here.
Yes. What did you do at Baldwin? Were you in any activities or anything like that?
So my parents sort of had this rule growing up that you always had to be in some sort of a club and some sort of a sport. So
I like
growing
your
up,
parents.
I kind of tried everything. So I did a little bit of softball. Wasn't a fan. Didn't do super great with that.
Sure.
Did soccer. But in Baldwin, soccer wasn't so popular when I was younger. So I actually was the only girl on an all boys team.
Wow, you're my hero even more.
I'm not a hero, but it was fun. I enjoyed that, but I wasn't the best on the team. Obviously, I was on an all boys team. But
Sure.
when I got into high school, I found tennis, and I really liked tennis. So I ended up in tennis, my whole high school career.
No, that is so great. Well, thanks for giving me those insights. Do you want to say hi to your parents and do you have siblings?
I do have a sibling. Um, he also went to Baldwin. He's a little bit younger than I am, and actually, he is getting ready to have his first child. We're very excited.
Wow, that is great.
Hmm.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on from the family. How did you or why did you want to go to Penn State?
Ugh, so many reasons.
Give me
um,
two. Give me two. Your two best.
you know what? It's a really good school,
Yes,
and the
I
reputation,
concur.
yeah, the reputation is very solid. And towards the end of my college career, I wanted to take a lot of classes that were online, and the whole online was really great with Penn State. They offered so much. Most of the classes were online, and it really suited my lifestyle.
Wow, so you're ahead of the curve. Now we're
I
on
kind of
Zoom.
was. I
Yes.
know a lot of parents last year had a hard time with, online classes with their kids, but I
Yeah.
was kind of used to that. So I was able to help my kids maneuver through that.
No, that sounds great. And what kind of degree did you get or degrees?
So my last degree was in industrial and organizational psychology,
And what was your first degree?
accounting.
Wow. So you're more towards the business end of things
Yeah.
mentally here.
Yes. And then I, discovered that I was a little bit more creative than I thought I was going to be. And that's kind of what led me into the career that I have now
Nice. And where did you start working after college?
with Darius.
Oh, you're kidding.
Mhm.
Really?
Yeah, she put
What
out
a
this post that,
connection.
what's that?
What a connection. That's
Right.
great.
Yeah, I kind of say she changed the whole trajectory of what I thought I was going to be doing. I thought I was going to kind of go into HR, and she put a posting out for what she was looking for. She and I worked together for a couple of weeks, and she kind of said to me, "Your skill set is not what I'm looking for. We're taking this in a whole different direction," and that's what we did. We started her video podcast, and
Yes.
we grew that from the ground up together. And she said, "If we don't know what we're doing, we're going to learn together." And that was her mindset was incredible, and I really valued every day that I worked with her. And it was something that I'll never forget. I really value everything we did with her.
No, that's awesome. I always
Mhm.
watch KDKA, but every time I saw her on, I would listen to her segment or two and was
Mhm.
always a fan of hers, how positive and upbeat she seemed in spite of, how news is. They all
Mhm.
look for the sensationalism, and she always seemed like a shining light, and I'd watch her once in a while. And when I started my show, I wanted to have her as a guest, and
Mhm.
that's why I reached out to you guys. And
Yeah.
I was so glad that you were able to make it happen with her and be there for that show and interview. And it went very well with how positive and upbeat she is and all the things she's doing and
Yes. Well,
helping
that's
others.
really where that whole the synopsis came from. That show is that she had been in the news for over 20 years, and had to read the stories that she didn't really want to read. So by the time she retired, she said, "That's it. I have this background. I'm going to do what I want to do now." And we really put a lot of stories out there that were positive, that made a difference. And she got to interview people that she wanted to interview, and that's really where everything came from. And it was so much learning that we had through there. And we got to meet great people like you.
Ah,
And
thank you. Thank you.
so it was great. Obviously you were one of the people that she thought was a positive influence in Pittsburgh, and we took it from there.
Well, that's what I practice. And I'm glad we met and we had some fun on the show. And that was very nice and interesting. And then in life, you move on, whether you have a child or a sibling or something, you move on to another level. What was the next level for you?
So yeah, you're completely right. You continue to grow in everything that you do. One of the ladies that we interviewed for the show, um, it's kind of funny because Darius decided she's going to move to Jamaica.
Yes.
And that's kind of a far commute for me because right now I live in South Park and I've been here for about 13 years. And I told her, I really like Jamaica. I'm sure it's nice weather, but I still have kids that are in high school and middle school. That's going to be kind of a far commute. So
Right. How many
um,
kids do you have, I must ask?
I have two. I have
Okay.
a son, Nathan. He's 20 going to La Roche, and my daughter's 16 and goes to South Park.
I understand.
Yeah.
Begrudgingly. I understand that too. I raised a
16 is a tough
teenager.
age.
Yes, I understand that. I got custody of my kids when they were teenagers,
uh,
and they
oh,
still love me, and my son gave me a great kidney without asking.
that's
So
phenomenal. Yeah.
I
And by
did.
the way, I know you got great news today. I don't know if you're going to share it. I'm going to maybe put it out there for you, but it's phenomenal just to watch your journey with your health, by the way, too. I'm very
Well,
so happy for you.
we'll share it with you since you have a special day. Mine was September 13th, Lucky Friday, 2019. And here, my guest on the day I'm interviewing her on my 2-year kidney transplant anniversary has a birthday.
I do. Every year it happens.
And not
Yep.
always on Friday, though. I just want to
Nope.
clarify. This
And I
is,
was born on a Monday. I wasn't born on a Friday.
well, guess what? You're going to celebrate the day you were born on Monday.
I am. Monday is my birthday.
Yeah, I know calendars a little bit, and since you piqued the interest, I'll share my little great news. I'm normally pumped up because I'm feeling great, got a great kidney, so I had to go for my anniversary. Long story short, go to Oakland, wait 2 hours to get the appointment, give blood, urine, all that stuff, get vitals. The Dr. Tivar, great surgeon, comes in, and then I go, Doc, how am I? He goes, everything is perfect like it's been. You're doing very well. And let me see one of your dinner pics. So I showed him a salmon pic and I told him about rowing. He goes, that's great. He goes, I'm going to try that. And he goes, how's your green tea? So I showed him a loose leaf green tea weather report. He goes, keep it up. And he goes, I'll see you in 6 months. You're doing very well. Just stay healthy and safe and keep doing what you're doing. So how many people didn't have to change their diet because they usually restrict you? And then he compliments me on it. So I'm beyond happy. So I have to share it. It is my show. You brought the best out in me. You're like a great interviewer. You turned the table on the talking machine.
Hey, that's how we do sometimes. I'm so very happy for you though. That's fantastic. And I
Yeah.
do, I watch everything that you eat and you drink, and it's inspirational because a lot of people that have health issues, when they change their diet, it really does make such a huge difference. And you're such a shining example of that. I
Thank you.
mean, it's wonderful. So happy for you. That's so great.
Thanks for bringing this out of me. You saw how hesitant I was. But we're going to carry on with you. That was a little interlude here so we can get back into the Kelly story. So after Darieth, you parted ways.
Mhm.
Was it because
So
of
one of the things that
Jamaica?
was always brought up during all of our interviews with Darius is, I was always on set, always on site. I always did the behind the scenes and the afterwards. And it was this funny tagline. Everyone kept saying, "Oh my gosh, I really need a Kelly. I need a Kelly." And Darius would laugh and say, "You're not taking my Kelly. You're not taking my Kelly."
That is so cute and
So
true.
thank you. So when she moved to Jamaica, we had this big conversation, and she said, I know people contact you, and I'm, very happy for your loyalty to me, but I am going to Jamaica. So if you want to reach out to some of the people that have been, talking to you, you can go ahead with my blessing. And that's kind of where my company actually started from. And I did reach out to a few people that we had been in contact with, and
Sure.
lo and behold, they did want Kelly. So that is how I kind of stumbled into the magazine, on the person that founded the magazine with me. And it was around for almost 5 years.
Who was that person? I like to drop names in Pittsburgh if you can. If there's a problem, don't mention their name.
No, Pittsburgh's full of bridges. You don't want to burn any of those.
I keep them all open and I travel across bridges. I don't stay just in the South. I'll go north.
I do too. I travel all the time. Yeah, it was
Yes.
Dr. Shelley Hipsky. She and I started working together.
I've met a
And
very nice person, very good person.
she is. She's very, very lovely. So we started the magazine together and it ran for several years. And then, unfortunately, COVID, it's hard to have a print magazine when Barnes and Noble isn't open. So
Yes. Yes.
yeah. Yeah. So COVID kind of took it over and it closed down. But that being a blessing too, again, everything grows from something else. And in January of 2020, Dawn Pamebo, who is the owner of WIN, actually
Yeah.
came to me and asked if I would come on board and help lead WIN. And I sort of sat there and looked at her and I said, I'm so busy because the magazine was taking 24/7 of my time.
Right.
And I sat there and talked to her and she said, well, I'm just going to stare at you until you say yes. And, she did. But we kept talking. I asked her a lot of questions about WIN, and,
Yeah.
2017 was kind of a hard year for me. And I was a member of WIN at that time. And the women of WIN really wrapped their arms around me and were supportive and helpful. And anything I needed, they were there for me.
Sure.
So as I sat there while she stared at me, I thought to myself, how can I say no when someone's asking for help? So I said yes. And, that was January 2020 and March, the shutdown happened. And, so I thought that was probably meant to be. And that's, I've been helping with WIN ever since. And, a lot of places had a hard time with COVID, and
Yes.
WIN had a banner year. Our membership almost tripled during COVID.
Triple.
Yes, it was I tell you, it was fantastic. We had such a great year. I'm
Well,
so proud of everything that we did. We brought on more ambassadors because our membership grew so much.
sure.
We offered discounts. We did a lot of Zooms. We had House Party, the app, and we did games, and we had drawing games. Which, don't ask me to draw. That is my one downfall. I will
I
be
will
honest.
not. I won't ask you to draw.
I have a hard time with stick figures.
Well, I got to interrupt. How do people get a hold of you at Win? Is there a way
You,
that they
you
can
can just
just,
actually Google. You can find me on Facebook, or you
I
can
did.
find Win. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can give you all the info, and you can put it all in here afterwards.
Okay.
But yeah, so we actually just opened up a new chapter. We were in just Win Pittsburgh, and we met in Bridgeville the second Wednesday of every month. And
Okay.
now we just added on a new chapter, and it's in Washington, and that's the first Wednesday of every month.
Well,
So
that's
even
not too far from South Park.
no, it's not. It's very convenient.
You're
Yeah.
very strategic compared to Jamaica, South Park.
I do try. Yeah, I do try.
I could tell. I knew you were smart when I first met you. Then I saw how savvy and business and professional you were then, and you're even more so. That's why I was excited that you accepted my invite.
Oh,
Well,
thank you.
I wanted to dig into this because I like the stories behind the scene, and
Sure. Yeah.
they're all positive and they're great. And
Yeah.
then I heard you had a health problem and you battled.
Um, I don't like the problem. I don't like to call it a problem, but I did have a challenge.
Okay.
Again, in 2017, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis.
And I wanted to
Um,
bring that out because of you being a fighter and a strong person mentally and physically. I'm proud of you because I got to share that with what I've seen. And I take back the problem. It was a health issue,
right.
and we try to overcome it like I did. It came out of the blue. Did you have any symptoms leading up to it?
Slightly. I started to lose my vision and my hearing, so that kind of gave something away.
Let me think. Yes. They
Yeah.
say if you lose your eyes, it's so traumatic. My dad lost 75% of his hearing. He
Mm,
got this Amneris disease, wiped it out down to 25%. And he had to wear
mm.
hearing aids and he loved music and things like that. So it was difficult. So I
I'm sorry to hear
understand
that.
what you're going through and a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with any autoimmune disease, I mean, you do have certain issues. So I'm sure you can relate to a lot of things too, not having that, but going through, I had to adjust my, whole lifestyle to try to accommodate and make things a little bit better.
Sure.
Medications and different exercises. But again, that was 2017, and the Win ladies were very helpful. Uh, I was actually going through a lot with the magazine, and we were running events, and we had a huge event that was coming up, and I do all the events for almost everything that I am part of.
Right.
And it was sort of hard to do that when you couldn't quite hear out of your left ear. So that was one of our little signs, was it was coming in and out. So if someone was talking to me, I would kind of do the Carol Burnett. And if I
Perfect.
touched on my ear, they knew she can't hear right now.
No, hey, folks, if you missed it, I said how savvy Kelly is. And you look great right now. That's
Thank
why I
you.
almost didn't bring it up, but I know the battle you're in from what my battle is when I had no symptoms.
Mhm,
So unlike you, I didn't know I was dying.
mhm,
So, I mean, that's, an extreme.
mhm.
And you're just doing so well. I know they adjust medicines, tell you to do exercises, tell you to eat and do different things like that. So
Yeah.
obviously you're doing it to a pretty good degree. So I
Thank you.
appreciate it. And I
Yeah,
know
I
it's
try.
I know it's a battle and a constant battle. So I don't belittle that. And like I always tell people, just be kind. We don't know what others are going through. And we're actually two perfect examples for that. So it's just great to have you on the show talking about that.
Thank you. And you're right. And I think that also kind of softened how I see others too, because I didn't know what I was going through. And I have my ups and downs and days where, and people have no idea when I say, hey, you know what, we're just going to sit for this meeting. Sometimes there's a reason I sit, but other people don't need to know what's happening, and you don't know, what's happening behind closed doors with someone else too. So I think it has made me much kinder, Not that I wasn't kind before, but it kind of puts different things in perspective as well. And when other people come to me with an issue or a problem, it gives me a different perspective on how to help them overcome things as well.
No, that makes sense. Thanks you for sharing that, because I've always been positive, thankful. Now I'm even more grateful for each
Mhm,
day, because I tell everybody we take good health for granted. And I know I did, but I did healthy things on the side to stay that way.
mhm,
Now I'm on steroids doing it each day.
mhm,
So it does make a difference.
mhm.
And where do you look on going to the future is what I want to know. What are the plans for Kelly? I know you got a couple out there.
Actually, I was not sure if I was going to mention this or not, but I thought if you brought it up. Um, so I had something sort of on my heart. I know you're good. I had something on my heart right before COVID happened. And when COVID hit, I thought this isn't the right time. And then I really dove into Win and making it, as great as it is today. And I
Yes,
am planning on continuing with Win just because I have such a passion for it and the women
right
that
in
we
the heart.
serve.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. But I've kind of let in a few people that I want to include in this. And I'm going to get ready to start a division of my company, and it's called PEEL, PEEL, and it's
Okay.
Pittsburgh's Elevated and Emerging Leaders.
Wow.
Yeah. And I really want to touch the youth. Um, it's for high school and college kids because I've always had this motto: when you see a need, you fill a need.
Okay.
So I've sort of seen this need where I've seen these high school kids or these college kids get out of high school or they get out of college or they're still in, and there are certain classes that aren't being covered in high school and aren't being covered in college, and these kids are coming out and they have degrees and they have book smarts, but there's not so many street smarts necessarily that are there. And especially when you're supposed to be learning certain things at home, not all the kids have an opportunity to be learning things at home. And especially lower income kids, it's a generational thing. So I want to take kids, and at least I want to start with at least 10 children and take
Wow.
them once a month. And I have three objectives: I want to feed them, I want to educate them, and I want to entertain them. Because when I was growing up, my parents, my mother, especially not from being around Pittsburgh, I don't think they knew exactly what Pittsburgh had to offer.
Sure.
So when I was in my 20s and late 20s, early 30s, and I started to explore Pittsburgh, I didn't know all the things that were available to me. So I know some of these kids don't know it either. Museums and even sports. Something
Yes.
I had never been to a hockey game until I was in my late 20s. And I
Wow.
know, I'm sure you think to yourself, oh my gosh, being a sports guy. But a lot of these kids too haven't had these experiences. And I really feel that experiences bond people together. And I really want children to be able to learn from the mentors that I'm bringing on board. I want them to also experience different restaurants besides McDonald's and Wendy's and Burger King. Not that I have anything against them, but there's so many phenomenal restaurants in Pittsburgh that were birthed from the Burgh, and
Yeah.
these kids probably have never had the opportunity to try them. So that's where I'm
You're so
starting.
spot on. I'm all about that because of course I'm older. I'll say I'm 65 years old, and I was ready to roll at 18.
Hmm.
And I was trading stocks when you couldn't
Wow.
trade stocks on your own. I had to get my dad, who knew nothing about stocks, to open up an account because you can't trade till you're 21.
Mm,
And I bought a building at 20 years old, a 3-story building in Carrick. And people go, "Why are you doing it?" I go, "I'm living at home. It's Hotel Levine, but I want income, passive income." I worked with 200 some guys. Most of them asked, "What are you even talking about?"
mhm,
And I was doing it, opening checking accounts, banking accounts, getting loans. And nobody really taught me. I read and found out because I was a voracious reader.
mhm.
And I ended up getting mentors because everybody needs a mentor.
Absolutely.
A couple neighbors on the street, they go, "Alan, I like what you're doing. Why don't we meet, over coffee?" Well, I don't
Mhm,
like coffee, but we met. So, but no, what you're doing is such cutting edge, because I call it a downward spiral with how our lifestyles are going, not just because of COVID. This is pre-COVID.
mhm,
And I see a lot of kids that are so needy and don't even have parents and
mhm,
haven't, and they're not just poor families.
Mhm.
So you'll catch the whole spectrum, which I
Yep.
wish you the best of luck. And I'm glad I pried because I know people like yourself are always looking on something else and other things they can do. Because don't you feel great helping people?
Yes, I mean it's selfish, but I do. I really do. I love helping the ladies of Win, and I really see such a need for the youth that are in Pittsburgh right now too. I said I had a girlfriend's daughter the other day, and she was in the high school and she was meeting the principal, and he went to shake her hand, and she put her hand out as if like to have it kissed, and she didn't know how to shake hands. And I said, "Oh, what are you doing? You have to put your hand like this, and you make eye contact." But at 15, she didn't know how to shake a hand. I thought, "Oh, this is exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing."
No, and it's so great. And what's even better, you get that great feeling, but you're actually helping make a difference with others. And they
Yes.
can become citizens and
Right.
good citizens.
Right.
And we need that in this
We do.
crazy time, not to get
Yeah.
too, involved with it. But that is so great. I'm honored that you would share it on the Talking Machine show. And do you have anything else you want to put out there? Because we're going to be running out of time shortly.
No, I mean, that was really, that's been on my heart. And I thank you for letting me share that. And maybe I'll have to rope you into something.
Well, here's what I'm going to offer you. I'm a prolific conversationalist.
Yes.
I will offer my speaking services to promote some positivity to help others in the sports world, entertainment world, or even business world, because I'm an entrepreneur also. And
Fantastic.
I can tell stories. I'll save it for another day. At 18 years old, I bought a product, bought a gross of them, and sold them all with a friend, and never did any selling really before at 18. So
Wow.
you can have me on board anytime. Your offer is accepted, and I will be straight up with them. And I take all questions, and I never heard a dumb question.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. That's wonderful. Thank you.
Well, to all my fans, YouTube fans, and Kelly's friends now, thank you for watching our show. I'm honored to have Kelly share her insights and future. And thank you for being a great guest on the Talking Machine show. We do 2 a month, and we'll be back in 2 weeks. Have a great
Thank
day.
you.